Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're having a couple more folks trickle in, so we will get started here in about one or 2 minutes. We'll kick off. All right. We have a pretty good group here. Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Ashley Piatek. I'm an Associate Director of Sales and Business Development here at 3R Sustainability, and I will be monitoring this session today. So before we dive into the content of today's webinar, would love to briefly introduce ourselves here at 3R. We are very much a full service sustainability consulting firm dedicated to helping organizations across industries embed sustainability into their core operations. Our services span a very wide range. We do everything from sustainability assurance. We have a climate team doing tons of climate risk assessments and greenhouse gas inventories right now, really focused on the California regulations for our clients. We help with target setting. We have a built environment team that does energy audits and building performance like LEED and supports with decarbonization strategies. And of course, the topic of today, we support many of our clients with reporting. So at 3R, we, through all of our services, are very passionate about turning sustainability into a driver of business value. And that's why we're so excited to talk about sustainability reporting in this webinar, which we really see as a strategic tool that can be customized to add value by building trust and reputation, meeting regulatory and market demands, and meeting customer and investor expectations. So a little bit more about our webinar series. We host multiple webinars throughout the year. Usually we're hosting at least one webinar every month. And we'd love to have you join us for future sessions. You can stay in the loop by signing up for our mailing list or following us on LinkedIn. The QR code that you see here, you can scan to connect to our mailing list. All of our webinars are free and open to everyone. Coming up next, we'll be hosting a webinar on November 18th about regulations, reporting, and readiness, and really navigating that year-end crunch. So for today, I'd love to introduce you to some of our panelists, and then we'll introduce you to a couple more when we get into the Q&A. So to start us off, I'm going to hand it over to Taylor from 3R.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Taylor Pilo. I'm one of the senior consultants here at 3R. I get to have the unique opportunity to play more of a project manager across projects to see the full client journey across all of the wonderful work streams that Ashley brought up earlier. But I'm also heavily involved in our reporting process, which gives me the unique opportunity to develop this amazing tool for companies to showcase their sustainability accomplishments and develop a tool that can provide a lot of value in developing continual improvement within their company. Today I'm going to be joined by Meena and Erica, both from Phoenix Closures. They've been working with 3R for 2 years now, and they've been amazing clients, especially within the reporting space. I'd love to tell you a little bit more about Phoenix. So Phoenix Closure is a privately held packaging provider, specifically in caps and closures. They are located throughout the Midwest in the United States. specifically headquartered in Aurora, Illinois, but then they have manufacturing locations spanning from Iowa, Tennessee, and Indiana. This is a family-owned business. They've been operating for over 135 years and now in their sixth generation of leadership in manufacturing. Specifically looking at their sustainability accomplishments. Phoenix has earned a gold in EcoVadis this past year. This is based on their continual improvement. We've seen them go from bronze to silver to now gold. So it's been amazing to see their progress over the years. They're also a part of the Better Plants initiative, where they have their own energy intensity reduction goal. And they hold memberships to multiple plastic manufacturing organizations that really help drive sustainability within their industry. If you want to learn more about the incredible work Phoenix is doing and check out their most recent report, scan the QR code in the bottom right corner, and they'll take you directly to their website. From here, I'm going to walk you through our reporting process here at 3R. So our reporting process, we take a multi-step approach to ensure that we're getting a really holistic approach to your report and covering all the main inputs that we'll need. Every engagement on a report starts with defining report expectations. We start by understanding what success looks like for each client, their goals, the use case for the report, the audience, and any specific frameworks or disclosures that you, the client, may need to align with. Thinking about all the disclosures from GRI and SASB to IFRS, CSRD, and TCFD. This stage is all about setting the foundation and understanding how we can maximize the value of your report. Clarifying scope, gathering priorities, and aligning stakeholders so that the report process stays focused, efficient, and meaningful. So we begin that right on day one. Once we really have an understanding of your goals, we move into a data collection and gap analysis step. Here, our team gathers sustainability performance data, everything from energy and waste to employee retention rates and procurement metrics, and assess it against the reporting standards that we identified in the previous step. Once we have all that data after working with the client, we look to see if there's any missing or incomplete data points, and we work collaboratively to identify solutions. The goal is always to strengthen data quality and ensure that the report rests on a solid, verifiable foundation. Next comes what I find the most fun part is the report writing. At this stage, we transform data into insight. Our team crafts well-structured narratives that highlight performance trends, achievements, and opportunities for improvement within your sustainability program. We ensure the report meets best practice standards, regulatory requirements, and stakeholder expectations, while maintaining a clear, authentic tone that reflects your values and strategy. So all of those things that we mentioned in the beginning. After the initial draft, we enter the report refinement phase. Here we provide professional copy editing, and we facilitate review cycles with our clients to gather feedback. This iterative approach ensures that the final product incorporates leadership input, aligns with company messaging, and maintains both accuracy and consistency across sections. So making sure that everyone that you identify within your organization is getting that final review on the report. Finally, we move to report design. We do offer our clients the option to take design in-house or to collaborate with one of our professional designers who create visuals and layouts consistent with the brand's identity. No matter which option you choose, we're always working in a collaborative environment to make sure that your final product reflects what you want. Our design partners make complex data easy to digest and visually engaging, turning what could be simply a compliance document into a powerful communication tool that builds credibility and inspires action amongst your stakeholders. The report process does not just end with a designed report, though. There's a full life cycle to reporting that really drives continual improvement. So looking at this, as I just mentioned, we developed a report. So that's developing that strong report using all those steps that I just talked on. When we develop a really strong report It provides a valuable tool to drive progress throughout the year. If you choose to, which we always recommend, is to then assure your report. This promotes stakeholder trust that the information is accurate and verifiable. And internally, it can lead to identifying improvement opportunities across your sustainability program, depending on which alignment standard you choose. When you're thinking about report assurance, I'm going to give a plug to our sustainability assurance services. I highly recommend you consider them when pursuing report assurances. Once you have that assured report, think about ongoing communications, engaging your stakeholders, whether that's internally or externally in the sustainability program. Inspire them to take action and contribute to your sustainability goals across the organization. And then finally, continual improvement. Not letting this report just sit on your website or on your desk, but reviewing it, talking about it in committee meetings, in leadership meetings, identifying opportunities for improvement and your progress on the goals that you've stated in the previous year. So when we restart this process in the new year, you've been working really hard to develop actions and accomplishments to contribute to your next report. And then we see this cycle go on every year. And with this cycle, you can see your sustainability program really blossom and grow. So with that,
Wonderful.
I think we're
Yes,
ready.
thank you so much, Taylor. That was a wonderful overview, and we're so grateful to have Meena and Erica from Phoenix join us now to speak a little bit more about their experience with reporting and the reporting process. So Meena, Erica, please come on screen and would love to just kick off with a quick introduction from you both, and then we'll jump into a few questions.
Great. Thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody that's on call. My name is Meena Banasiak, and I'm the Vice President of Quality and Social Impact at Phoenix Closures. Prior to coming to Phoenix, I worked at a very large, publicly traded global food manufacturing company, and am now working for a much smaller, privately held packaging provider. So I've been on a couple ends of the spectrum, so to speak. And I come with that experience of being at a business that now effectively represents the customer of who I serve at Phoenix. So that insight's really helpful as we think through our sustainability journey. I've held a few different titles during my tenure at Phoenix, and that's reflective of the shift in my career path toward taking on leadership of our company's sustainability journey. It's been almost 5 years now that I first began crafting the earliest framework for corporate social responsibility here at Phoenix, and it is very rewarding to see how much further we've grown since enlisting 3R's help in the last 2 years, and much of that it stems from the work we've done in the realm of reporting. So I'm really happy to be here to talk through what we've experienced.
Wonderful. And then Erica, we have Erica on as well. Erica, you might need to toggle on your video to come on screen. If you look at your camera where you can see yourself, there's a little toggle. Do you see that? If not, we can hear you, and that's completely fine too.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You got
All
it.
right, great.
We're here. Wonderful. Erica, would you like to quickly introduce yourself as well?
Yes, of course. Hello, everyone. I'm Erica Belling, and I'm the sustainability specialist here at Phoenix Closures. I've been with Phoenix for about 4 years now, and I've held a couple of different roles during that time. And that has actually given me a broader view of how sustainability connects across the business. I'm a certified SEA through the International Society of Sustainability Professionals, and I've completed sustainability management programs through the MIT Sloan School of Management. In my current role, I'm involved in the hands-on side of sustainability work, gathering, organizing data, helping us develop and track goals, and also track our progress year over year. And I'm really looking forward to today's discussion.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So before we jump into our first question, I think I skipped over this at the beginning of the webinar. But if anybody does have any questions, you have a lot of wonderful expertise in the room, please feel free. I believe there's a Q&A section, and we'll leave a couple minutes at the end of the webinar to answer any questions that we get from the audience. So for our first question, Meena, I would love to hear a little bit more about how you all define the value of reporting. So what does success look like when you think about this annual report being a business tool for you all?
Yeah, it's a great question. And the first word that comes to mind is accountability. Reporting requires us to not only talk the talk, but walk the walk, right? It can be easy to talk through what you think you're going to do, but then putting it in writing makes it official. It holds you to it. It requires you to demonstrate with evidence that you are pursuing and achieving meaningful things. So it takes us beyond saying what we're going to do to actually doing what we say and then proving it. So as a business tool, that proof is what we then can offer to our customers or other business partners that shows that we're following through on our commitments, and that builds trust and credibility. And then internally, reporting offers a source of alignment for our employees. So we have the ability to clearly state what our goals are and point to them when there's any question around what our priorities should be, and then also capture the progress that we've made toward achieving them. So it's really about having a fixed resource in place that captures the work that we're doing in a meaningful way.
Excellent. And I heard a little bit about kind of internal stakeholders, which I wanted to tease out a little bit more. So I know that with any report, there's tons of people involved and lots of data that's gathered. Erica, can you tell us a little bit more about how and actually who the key internal stakeholders are that get involved in developing the report, and how do you work to make sure that you're gathering all of their input?
Yeah, of course. Like you said, there's many people involved, and internally, it's pretty cross-departmental, actually. It's an effort that touches nearly every function in the company, from the executive level on down. And I personally find that one of the biggest misconceptions about sustainability is that it only covers environmental topics, when in reality, it's a much broader topic. And so in the sustainability reports that we've completed so far, we focus on three main pillars, which are people, product, and planet. So as you can imagine, with those three pillars, that it does require a lot of collaboration from other departments. For example, under people, we track a lot of safety data. We track employee demographics. So we work closely with our safety teams, HR, of course. Product, again, we rely on engineering, R&D, marketing, trying to capture innovation, product stewardship, and just our circularity initiatives within the company. And planet, we partner with engineering, quality, purchasing, accounting. It's a big lift that involves everybody, but we work with those departments to compile metrics such as our energy use, water use, our waste, greenhouse gas emissions. So since there's so much data needed to complete the report, we actually work through a structured template that 3R provides us. It's kind of a framework. It's got all the information that we're going to need to stay aligned with GRI and SASB standards. And it basically becomes our reporting checklist, and it just becomes a matter of checking things off the list, which just involves coordinating with each department, sometimes a little persistently. Sometimes you have to put a little pressure on to meet the timeline, but I work with each department and collect and validate and document their data, and hopefully it's on time.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would think, and one thing that I want to point out too is the question as you posed it was, who are our internal stakeholders? And our partners across multiple different departments here at Phoenix are simultaneously stakeholders of this content as well as key contributors. So navigating that duality of the relationship is really important as we develop the report, because in some ways you can look at our customers or other external stakeholders the same way. In a way, they're contributing input because we are developing the report to service the questions that they are going to ask us, and the report helps to answer them. So I think that's what's helped us in terms of gathering input internally, is that this is as much a service to our colleagues to have all of this data collected and in one place, and to allow it to gain more attention, because that's how we can continue to prioritize the work.
Yes, and can drive the value for this data that you're collecting throughout the year as well. So it's not just this one-time practice. So the
Thank
external,
you, Meena. That's helpful.
Yeah, well, thank you both. Because it is such a cross operation collaboration. Like, you need buy-in from all levels of the organization to get it done, and to have it reported in a way that is drives the most value for your firm and for your initiatives. But then touching on the external stakeholders, can you speak a little bit more about the external stakeholders that help shape the report, and how that feedback from external stakeholders gets gathered and then put into the report as well?
Of course. So externally, our report is influenced by several groups who either might rely on the data we share or help us interpret it. So obviously, our customers play a primary role in helping drive our sustainability topics. We have to be in accordance with them and focus on the things that matter most to them when it comes to their sustainability goals. And a lot of times that focuses on items such as energy intensity, greenhouse gas reduction goals, maybe recycled content use in the products that we manufacture. So their expectations help us prioritize what goals that we should be focusing on that align with the broader industry standards that we're in. Suppliers, I mean, they're another big one as well. Any company's going to work with suppliers. We have many of them. Our primary, not to get too heavy into our specific industry, but we work with liner suppliers, and that's a big component of the products that we manufacture and sell. And so our purchasing department, we've recently implemented a supplier scorecard, and that is given to every supplier that we have, which asks them about their practices, sustainability-wise, to make sure that their own carbon footprints and their own best practices, how it's going to impact Phoenix's overall carbon footprint as well.
Yeah, and one of the things that's challenging in that regard is we are in the same position. We are a supplier to other businesses. So we are on the receiving end of those types of questions. And then it continues to get pushed further and further up the supply chain, right? So it's really where the challenge, but the beauty in the reporting actually kind of comes together, is you find that there are some certain things you are incapable of reporting because you just don't have the information, because you're relying on someone else in your supply chain to be able to provide it, to have a robust answer or a way to characterize it. So it really is part of the journey in defining what those metrics are to include and how you can actually calculate them with varying levels of I want to say accuracy. It's going to be accurate, but how deep can you go, right? It just depends on how sophisticated you can get with the inputs. So that's another sort of balancing act.
Yes, and I know I think in another question or two, we'll touch on like how you communicate your report and use it for customer requests and things like that. But and I'm going off script, which is never probably a good thing. But I did want to ask, you all did a materiality assessment, which I'm sure drove a lot of the identification of the KPIs that now are highlighted in your report. Can you just briefly, very briefly touch on that so that the audience can kind of understand how you narrowed down to kind of what you're highlighting in the report?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start, and then Erica, if you want to jump in, feel free. So Erica had mentioned that our customers are the ones that play a significant role in signaling which topics matter to them. And that is part of that materiality assessment process, is identifying who all the stakeholders are, internal and external, and gathering their input so that what we provide as a report and a finished product to characterize the work that we do year over year includes content that matters to them, that influences their ability to achieve their goals, and that there's this overall connectedness and value. So it took research, it took surveys. We looked across our industry, we looked at the markets we serve, we looked at our peers, our competitors, and then established what those key material topics were, because without that, we could find ourselves scrambling and have no idea what to focus on in the report, because you can do a lot of things. You can do a lot of different things in sustainability. So we had to have some way to corral that and narrow the focus so that we could do a few things really well instead of attempting to do too many.
Yes, thank you. And I do feel like that is such a fundamental step in the process of reporting, because while you said it kind of narrows it down, it still is narrowing down while maintaining this comprehensive approach to all of your stakeholders, both internal and external, and that the report is really driving value for all of those stakeholders. Okay, so switching gears a little bit. Oh, yes, Taylor, go ahead.
If I can add to that materiality conversation too, with the materiality assessment, one of the key items to that, Meena did not mention, was the area that focusing on areas where Phoenix has the largest impact on. So looking at their operations, and Phoenix has really taken ownership of not only focusing that they're reporting on their material topics, but that they're implementing actions that focus on the material topics. You can see this in how they adhere to their sustainability plan, how they're building their committee based on making sure each material topic has stakeholders involved. So to the value chain and the external stakeholders, you're seeing, wow, Phoenix is really focused in their reporting efforts, but it really encompasses their whole sustainability program. And I think that's what really helps them be able to drive their impact and progress their sustainability program so quickly and so holistically. So just wanted to add that color to the materiality assessment.
Yeah, thank you, Taylor.
So, continuing to drill into the data collection piece a little bit more, I know you all are working on a sustainability dashboard. And so I'm curious to hear, and for the audience, if you all can talk a little bit more about how you decided to develop this dashboard, what was the main driver, and how you see that being kind of more integrated across the business.
Yes, short answer, basically the main driver was efficiency and accuracy in our data. Prior to the dashboard, much of the data we collected, such as utility data, like our electricity usage, water usage, our resin usage, and scrap, that was tracked manually across multiple spreadsheets. So as you can imagine, collecting and verifying that information, it took a lot of time, and it also, leaves room for error. So we're looking forward to using this dashboard on this year's report that we're going to start working on in just a few days. The dashboard is centralized in Power BI, and we've automated that data collection so that when utility bills come in, they're automatically uploaded, the data is scrubbed from the invoice, and then it's loaded into the system, which means we can't really break it. There's not a lot of room for error. Not that we follow it blindly, but it's good information that it's giving us. And like I referenced before, previously we've used multiple spreadsheets, which is just can be a nightmare. So this dashboard is kind of a single source of truth for our data. And it's improved our confidence in the numbers that we share. And like I mentioned, it has saved us a significant amount of time. And also, the data that we're seeing, it helps us move from more of a reactive reporting to more proactive management, because instead of seeing data gathered basically at the end of the year, we can see data month to month, which is going to help us to see the trends that are occurring or spot outliers that may, obviously stand out, like, and make you question what's going on there. And also it gives us room to identify opportunities for improvement as they happen, instead of kind of looking back in time 12 months.
Very helpful. And any kind of forward looking with the dashboard. I mean, anybody who has been through this process with reporting knows that the data collection piece can be grueling and take a lot of time. And I think often like a lot of education to internal stakeholders about the data that's being collected. And so I'm curious, as like it seems like it's going to be so valuable for this reporting process. But then do you see this dashboard evolving in terms of its use beyond just the annual report at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, one of the motivations was, as Erica described, being able to have greater confidence in the numbers and to remove some of the extra steps that it took to collect them. But we are limited in the scope and the nature of the data that we're collecting in that dashboard today. We're actually specifically only referring to it as an environmental dashboard, because it doesn't become a sustainability dashboard for us, by my definition, until it expands to include the scope of the other functional areas and metrics that we are also tracking, which themselves are now still in their own Excel spreadsheets. We will, through our evolution, continue to pull those in. But that's part of it too. When you mention education, it's about making sure that any new tool or methodology that we roll out doesn't remain in the hands of just a few subject matter experts who are working to build it, but it becomes available and accessible and understood by a larger percentage of the organization, so that it's serving multiple purposes. It's not just there for a small need or ultra focused need, but that more people have the ability to look at it, understand it, utilize it to drive decision making. And so I say this, and it's somewhat aspirational because we're at the cusp of being able to launch it. And there's a lot of plans this next year to continue to add to it. But that's our vision.
Wonderful. Okay. Maybe just one more question on data collection, because I do think this is an important one as we see shifting kind of regulations and scopes and methodologies across different I'd say, I guess, like metrics within the sustainability space. But sometimes data can stop serving its purpose, or it can change in how things are calculated or the methodology that's used. And so have you experienced moments like this with your reporting? And if so, how do you go about like the realization, and then how you adjust it in your reporting process and report?
Yeah, that's a fabulous question. It's definitely happened, and it's definitely part of growing pains, because you can tend to get quite comfortable with a certain data set, and usually when you're comfortable, it means you're not growing. is my unfortunate experience that I have to admit to. So data really needs to yield insights that drive decision making, and then that decision making allows you to pursue clear action steps. And in that way, data influences behavior. So if we are doing things right and doing things in the cycle that Taylor described early on, we're constantly checking to make sure that we are either achieving the desired behavior that we were pursuing, or we are looking to figure out where we need to maybe take a little bit of a turn. And if we've reached the set of behaviors or the goalposts that we established, that means maybe it's time to advance to something more complex. Like, whatever we were reporting on originally before partnering with 3R in the realm of energy or waste management, those metrics never included scopes 1, 2, and 3 emissions. We had never yet calculated a greenhouse gas inventory. So here's this whole new body of data that now needs to be introduced, and what we had been doing prior to then may have served its purpose, but is no longer going to be as relevant or as impactful as having this inventory. And then the other thing that I want to mention about refreshing data is it's helpful to consider the balance of metrics that you're tracking that are either leading indicators or lagging indicators, because a lot of this work that we've done in the last few years is in identifying what are the metrics that we are able to better control from a proactive perspective or approach, like Erica was saying, instead of only relying on data to roll in on its own and then reacting to it. So we are conscious of needing to refresh or replace KPIs to be sure that we're identifying those things that are more actionable and that will, by doing them, yield the lagging data that we're hoping to see as well.
Yes. Okay. So shifting a little bit into the drafting and design of a report. So we spoke a lot about data. How do you all balance, like strike a balance between the data that is being reported and a little bit more of like the storytelling? So integrating your values and operational and cultural changes, things like that. How do you find the balance there?
Oh, there's a lot that I could say. So I heard you say values. So our company core values are extremely important. I know, Taylor, when you were describing the reporting process that 3R assists with, one of the things you mentioned was making sure that the report achieves the tone and drives the nature of the conversation that we as the business want to project. And that to me comes right back to the basis of our company core values. And accountability and integrity is one of Phoenix's 5 core values. The entire process of reporting screams that value to me, as I described a little bit earlier. And we've had enough instances where we've had to reckon with results that don't end up matching what we aspired to. And when that happens, like, that's where the accountability and the integrity come in. We have to think carefully about root cause and what lessons we can carry forward and how we're going to speak to that in the report, because that then becomes the basis of the messaging. So culturally, because our company culture is defined in a large way by our core values, using that same foundation to develop the report, I think works very well in our favor, because it just calls upon the same behaviors and expectations that we already hold of our employees.
Okay, no, I just saw the 5 minute, 5 more minutes in your webinar. It always flies. So I do want to hit on the communication piece, which there is certainly this tie throughout the reporting process of values, both at the company level and with your stakeholders externally. And so how, when you go through the communication process, you design the beautiful report, you collect all the data. How do you then decide? I actually would love to hear, like, broadly your communication strategy for a report, but then how do you also make sure that the report gets to all of the external audiences and even your internal stakeholders that can use the report for their kind of day-to-day needs as well?
Yeah, sure. Erica, do you want to start with this one in terms of talking through like the very last stages of our report publishing, like what happens when we take it to the printer and how we work with our marketing team?
In which way specifically are you referring to?
Yeah, so just literally like our last stage of design where I know, Taylor, you said it doesn't just sit on your desk, but I literally have it on my desk because I'm looking at it all the time. So we have the bound report, but then we're also on social. So I don't know if you want to mention a couple of things about how we partner with our marketing team to achieve that.
We do. Marketing's heavily involved, as you can imagine, and we we work with 3R and our marketing team on quite a few edits throughout the process. And then once we've got our final pieces together, the report is, obviously put together at the printers. We promote that through our marketing team on different social media channels. We send them to we send copies of the report to our plants. They're included, the reports are on our company website so that they're easily accessible to customers or potential customers. And we make announcements. We'll kind of brag that our latest report is out to make sure that people are seeing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we also are pretty deliberate about sharing the report with our sales team because our customers are our target target audience. And so we want to make sure that our sales team feels equipped to use this as yet another tool in their toolkit when prospecting or when strengthening our relationship with our existing clients, that they now have fresh information that they can share and use it to demonstrate our value as a supplier.
Excellent. Okay. I know we are almost at time. Are there any, I don't think it's worth jumping into one more question. Are there any more final thoughts you want to wrap up with, Meena or Erica or Taylor, as folks in the audience are kind of going into likely their reporting season, whether it's in the next couple months or in Q1 of 26?
Yeah, I mean, I think that actually is relevant to the question I see in the chat.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's at least one. Thank you, Rachel.
I know I looked earlier and there wasn't. Yes,
yeah.
Thank you. Do you want to read it, Meena?
Yeah, sure. So Rachel heard Erica mention that we'll be starting our next report soon. How early should companies start preparing for their annual sustainability report? Is there an ideal timeline for reporting? That is a fantastic question because we have grappled with that year over year, and we have continued to shrink that timeline, which can be very long. One of the challenges we've faced is that you are simultaneously looking backward and forward because you're looking back on the year you just completed to try to compile all that data and put it together in this beautiful package. But you're also supposed to be working on next year's goals at the same time. So it's tricky. We have chosen to align our report to our fiscal year. You can align it to really whatever calendar works best for you to convey the information. But it does take time, like months. I think our first go around was probably at least 8 months because it was so new, and collecting all that data and going through all the spreadsheets was challenging. But we're tightening it up as we get a little bit more sophisticated with the tools that we have available to us and a little bit more comfortable with the process. So, okay, can I give my one parting comment?
Yes, of course. I love it.
There's this quote that I've carried with me forever, and it just keeps showing up as relevant in a lot of different places. It's from Anais Nin, and it goes, there comes the day when the risk to remain tight in the bud becomes greater than the risk it takes to blossom. And so that concept of it being worse off that you remain static where you are and not take that chance to do something different or expand your scope, I think is super relevant. Year over year, we've been in that position where we have to embrace the fact that we're gonna be better if we do the harder thing. And I would put that out there as a point of inspiration to anybody at any point on this journey. Like, it will perpetually feel hard because it needs to, because it means that's how you know you're improving.
All right. Well, what an excellent quote to close on. Thank you to everyone who has joined us today. Thank you so much, Meena and Erica and Taylor, for joining us. Please follow everyone on socials, Phoenix Closures, Meena and Erica. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at 3R. We're always happy to help with any questions that come up or services that you might need help with. And keep following along for more webinars. Again, open to everyone, and we're certainly here to try to put out some helpful guidance and bring in our partners to help kind of the greater audience with their initiatives as well. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.